This is the Sandman with a new story. It's called The Story of Albert and Duke. Once upon a time, deep in the forest lived a couple of snakes by the names of Albert and Duke. Now, even though they had a very good life, something seemed to be missing. And one day, they finally realized what it was. They needed a friend to share their life with. So, off they went the following day, slithering through the forest, searching for a friend. But they didn't find one in the forest. So they journeyed beyond until they came to a big lake. And what do you think they saw standing by that lake? But a beautiful princess. Duke wanted to approach her immediately, but Albert couldn't believe that a princess would want to live with two snakes. But Duke finally convinced Albert that it was all right to try. So they went up to her, and they talked to her. She was very nice. She put them both at ease. And finally, they decided to pop the question. They asked the princess to come and live with them. And to their happy surprise, she said yes, on one condition, that you promise never to turn your backs on me. Well, this was such a simple condition that they both agreed immediately, and off they went into the forest to set up house. Albert and Duke were happier than they had ever been, and the princess seemed happy too. Then one day, something happened. Albert wanted the princess to go for a walk with him, but Duke wanted to lie in the sun with her. And the princess suggested that they play leapfrog. But Duke didn't want to. He wanted to climb a tree instead. And so finally, Albert and Duke decided to step outside and settle it. And out they went into the forest where the argument raged for hours and hours, with Albert making one suggestion and then Duke another, until finally it was dark and they were both exhausted. At this point, Albert said, I got an idea. Let's let the princess decide. Duke agreed, and they both rushed back to the house. When they got back to the house, they discovered that the princess was gone. They searched all over the house, but she was nowhere to be found. Finally, they saw a note on the pillow. It said, Dear Albert and Duke, I was very happy with you, but a promise is a promise. I'm sorry, but I have to leave you. Goodbye. The princess. Albert and Duke were very unhappy because they had been thoughtless. But even though they had broken their promise, they believed they could do better if she would ever come back. So they decided to wait. And to this day, if you go into the forest, you'll find them waiting. Because although a promise is a promise, even snakes deserve a second chance.